want to convert it to JSON format and then be able to process it. And then also, because we are logging into only one user, but this will return an array, a lot of data for us, because it's fetching all the users. So we need to actually go through the users and see the one that matches with the email we have created. So we say const sign in user equals data.find. We want to find a single user. So the user we want to find is going to be mapped to that user object dot email. Okay, we want to pick the email and then compare that email to the email we are passing from here. We collected from the field that the person actually typed the email in. So once it retrieves that email of that detail, if only it's in the database, then we'll call const dot we'll create a variable called validate. We want to validate and see if the password of that email matches with the one we have in the database. Because don't forget that the password has been encrypted, so we can't actually know and just say directly compare the password. No, you can't do that. So we have to actually use the bcrypt again to compare, to validate it. So let's say password validator equals await. Okay, it's also asynchronous, so we'll call the bcrypt. We have not yet imported the bcrypt on this file, so let's say import bcrypt from bcrypt react bcrypt.js react. Okay, and then now we'll be able to use that here. So bcrypt dot compare. Okay, we are comparing, and the compare function takes the string you are bringing in plus the hash that is coming from the database. And because we now can be able to look for that user by the email, we now will be able to pass the password we have captured from this text box. So we'll capture the password from this text box, and that is what we are passing here because it's being handled by this state here. So we are calling it here, and then the hash is the one that is coming from the sign in user dot then password, because this sign in user will come, it's an object, it will come with, let's log it, console.log sign in user. Okay, but then we are comparing that, and then when it matches, what do we do? Let's console log. It will tell us if it is true or false, which means did the password match or not. So let's go in here, and then when we go to the sign in, we have the james@mail.com and the password is A. So when I click on sign in, you can see the object here, it brought everything, and then it says true, yes. But then let me put in a wrong password and then sign in again. You see, this time it brought the object, but it says false. So we'll use the true and false to validate and say, oh okay, yeah, the person is a legitimate person, has the right to access the system, and then we'll make a redirect to the home page. So how do we make, if the person this value is correct, then what we'll do is this. So we say if password validator, okay, which the if statement is going to return true or false, like this is going to return true or false. So if it is true, if password validates, okay, or validator, let's give it this word validate, or if const password valid, okay, password valid, let's use that word, password valid. Okay, so if the password is valid, then it should do that. So if password valid, then what should it do? It should navigate. So we have to use another React hook, another React router DOM hook that can allow us to be able to navigate to multiple pages. So we have to do import useNavigate, okay, and it's coming from React router DOM. So we would create at the down here, let's create a state for that. Const navigate equals useNavigate, okay, that's how we call it. Navigates equals useNavigate, and then we will bring a parenthesis in front of it, and now we can say navigate, and then the navigate takes to the URL you want to link to, and then some options. So we can just say navigate to home page, right? That's it, navigate to home page. Else, if the password is not valid, else if the password, it means that if the password is not valid, then it means the person typed the wrong password. So let's capture an error state. So let's create one state for that. We'll come here and say const, and then say set status. Sorry, is set status equals useState, right? And then set it to empty string. So we are just capturing a status of that, and then we say set status would be wrong email or password, check and try again. So that is what we are trying to capture. And then we can also add something here to, so that after the message is popped up, after some few seconds it will disappear. So we'll use a JavaScript set timeout, which takes a callback function. Let me format it well, other than that it will throw an error. So it will take a callback function and do a curly brace, but don't forget the final parenthesis at the end, okay? It has to be this way. So after it has set the status, the final part before the curly brace and the parenthesis, you can pass the seconds of the milliseconds value here, okay? How long do you want it to stay before this timeout function is called or is fired? So we want it to wait for 2 seconds. Then now we'll set the set status here and set it to an empty string. So anytime there is an error in login, it should show the this message after 2 seconds. Then it should cause the message to disappear. This has nothing to do with the login in checking, but then it's just some effect. So now that we have this, we should be able to log in. So let's say I do James again at mail.com, and then I put in a wrong password. When I log in, it did not go through, but we did not, okay, we are not displaying the message, if you take note of this. So we have to come down here and put a paragraph, and then also pass the status here, okay? And then let's create a style, do another curly brace, and define the color to be red, okay? So when you come on the page and you log in, this, you see, it shows that after 2 seconds it disappears. But when you type the correct distance, because of the navigate, the hook we have created here, when I click on sign in, then it takes us to the home page. Nice, good. So now let's put something on the home page. There's the home component, so let's put something in there. It's just going to be a test. So let's put in the heading h1 here. Let's give it a class of title. Class, we have some class called title in there, so it will automatically format it with that. Home page, we have already defined the style for that. Then let's create a div with a paragraph p star. Let's do p star for angle tag lorem of 50. Okay, when you tap and you save, that should give us a lorem test of that. So it means on the home page we have that test in there. Nice. So that gives us this. But also just in case the person has not signed in, okay, let's check something. If the user is not signed in, but then the user comes to the URL and do /home, it takes the person to the home page. That is also something we want to prevent. We don't want the user to go to the home page through the URL without logging in. So we have to do some checking here to ensure that the user is not able to do that. Now there's something we can do in the sign in, where anytime we sign in and is navigating, you know, when we call the navigate function, it says that we can do a to, okay, but comma, there's also options that you can do, and that option is that we can do a comma and pass an object here, and the objects we can pass a state, and that state we will say we need to pass a value in. So when we pass the value in, like let's say the login status, let me call it status, okay, I'll pass in true. It means that when the user is navigated from here to the home page, it means that the person has logged in, right? There's a better way to do this, but then for now I don't want to overload with a lot of React hooks. We'll be adding them along the way. Once you understand the ones we have used, the use hook, the use navigation, okay, or use navigate, and then we also have we are going to use the use location. So once you are conversant with that, then we can add some more React hooks to that. So I can pass this second parameter in to the navigate, and then when we come to the home page, we'll do some checking here. Let me collapse this and then we will do some checking on the home page to be able to ensure that when the user loads the home page, the person is actually logged in. So I said we are using another hook called import useLocation hook, and then it's coming from here. So we are importing that, and then we'll say const location equals useLocation here. Now what is the useLocation hook doing? Let me bring you back here, and then you will see that it says the useLocation hook is part of the React router DOM package, which returns the location object used by the React router, the location. This object represents the current URL and is immutable. Whenever the URL changes, the useLocation hook returns a newly updated location object. Okay, so we are using this to track the location, but then we are also passing some data with the location. So, and that data is what we are calling as state, like you see, state, and then it has an object called status is true. So when we come here, before, let me quickly do this. So I don't want it to show this. I'll create an empty fragment. This is an empty fragment where you don't pass any element name. Then I'll do a curly brace here, a JavaScript object. I have cut this in, but I've not removed that. So I'll say location, I'm calling this location dot